NBA reporters get a bad rap, and sometimes there are good reasons for that. While there are plenty of NBA reporters who have been at it for decades and do incredible work, there are others that are honestly kind of baffling. Dumb people asking dumb questions to some of the world's top athletes. What were they thinking, and how did they even get here in the first place? Here are some of the absolute dumbest questions in NBA interview history. Sit back, relax, and prepare to feel a lot smarter by comparison.
Your impressions of the first quarter?
We're behind and they're ahead.
Mark Schwartz. There is one NBA reporter who's kind of like the GOAT of dumb questions. His name is Mark Schwartz. Schwartz has a gift for coming up with questions that are weirdly hard to answer. One of the most important stats to consider in the GOAT of dumb questions debate is how often the reporter is asked for clarification. Mark Schwartz is head and shoulders above the competition in this category. NBA players never have any idea what he's talking about and are always asking him to clarify what he means. No player has been targeted more than the self-proclaimed GOAT himself, LeBron James. LeBron has been the victim of several dumb questions at the hands of Mark Schwartz. The most famous example was after Game 1 of the 2018 NBA Finals. LeBron walked into the post-game press conference already in a bad mood. His teammate J.R. Smith had just made the worst blunder in NBA history and cost the Cavs the game. LeBron had scored 51 points and given one of the greatest finals performances of all time, and it had all been erased by somebody else screwing up. You can see how this would be the worst time ever for another idiot to step in and subject LeBron to even more frustration. But Mark Schwartz is the GOAT. Listen to what he asked LeBron just hours after the JR blunder, and notice LeBron's face when he realizes just who it is that gets to ask him the last question of the night.
Mark, last question.
LeBron, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. From listening to everybody's reaction to the play at the end with JR getting the rebound, there's still confusion about whether JR thought the game was tied or whether he thought you guys were ahead. From where you stood on the court and from talking to him after the play, what's your reaction to it? What's your version?
This is why Mark Schwartz is the GOAT. Very few reporters could craft a question to be this jumbled and lacking in meaning. Yet, at the end, all he really asked LeBron was how he felt about it. That's as stupid as asking somebody who just got robbed at gunpoint how they feel about it. This led to a historic battle between two GOATs, as LeBron tried to clarify the questions while Schwartz kept confusing him further and further.
What do you mean, what's my version?
Well, did he think that the game was tied, or did he think that you guys had it salted away?
How do I know that?
Or did you discuss it at all with him at the end of the play?
No. They asked me if I talked to JR about it. I said no already. I knew it was a tie game. We was down one. George Hill went up. He made the first one. We got the offensive rebound. You know, I thought we were all aware of what was going on. That's my view. So I don't know what JR was thinking. I don't know the question you're trying to ask.
Finally, Schwartz delivered the knockout punch.
Did you know if he knew the score?
Thank you.
This wouldn't be the last time the two GOATs would face off. Just days later, the Cavs had lost Game 3 in Cleveland in dramatic fashion. Kevin Durant, for the second year in a row, beat the Cavs in crunch time with a dagger 3. Defeated and frustrated, LeBron soaked into another post-game press conference and was probably just hoping to get on the bus as soon as possible. Little did he know, his arch nemesis was ready to strike again.
LeBron, Mark Schwartz, ESPN.
Anxious for a rematch, LeBron sat straight up in his chair and braced himself for what was coming.
Knowing that you have that tremendous recall of moments in games, can you describe what was in your mind both tonight and last year when Kevin Durant launched that shot from the wing?
Clearly, Schwartz had opted for the same winning strategy that had stumped LeBron after Game 1, asking him how he feels. LeBron seemed rattled at first, but he composed himself and then tried a new strategy of his own. First, he made fun of Schwartz, then he decided to actually answer his question, no matter how stupid the answer sounded.
I actually think you should be like a psychiatrist. You want to just keep trying to get in somebody's mind. That's the whole thing, huh, Mark? What's in my mind, miss it so we can get the rebound.
This was a veteran move from a veteran player who's been dealing with stupid reporters for 2 decades, but Schwartz was ready for it. Schwartz responded by turning his stupidity to its most dangerous and unstable maximum levels.
Did it feel like last year to you? Did you think of it at that moment?
No.
Performing at this high level, Mark Schwartz is unstoppable. The only word LeBron could respond with was simply no. LeBron may be Schwartz's biggest target, but he has terrorized other star players as well. In fact, during that same final series, Schwartz also came after Kevin Durant. Schwartz hit KD with an elite level dumb question, which he reinforced with a bunch of unnecessary lip smacking sounds just to make it more obnoxious. KD is a great player who's been in the league for a long time, but he's no LeBron. He didn't even make it to the end of the question.
Kevin, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. You know, Steph was unbelievable in this series as well as you were. 9 threes for a finals record. He closes out with 37, and yet he still never won a finals MVP. But
Does it matter?
Does
it? We won 2 champs. We just won back-to-back. I don't think nobody even worried about that type of stuff. I'm glad that we came out and played a great game tonight. Was able to finish the series off. That's the only thing that matters to us.
Unfortunately, just like all-time great players, the greatest all-time asker of dumb questions, Mark Schwartz, has many idolizers. Other reporters who apparently thought, wow, if that idiot can be a sports reporter, so can I. The results of this have been tragic for NBA players, who are now constantly subjected to dumb questions from every corner of the room after games. Draymond Green. One notable victim was Draymond Green back in 2016. The Warriors were in the process of beating the Houston Rockets in the playoffs. The timing was a little awkward because the city of Houston was facing a serious emergency caused by flooding. One reporter apparently had very superstitious beliefs about the flooding and seemed to think Draymond Green and the Warriors were to blame for it. Maybe he thought the Warriors winning had upset the gods or something. I don't know, it's hard to say. Anyway, what made this unbelievably dumb question even dumber was the super repetitive and annoying way he asked it. Listen, and check out Green's reaction.
And this year, you visit us. Game 3, there's a flood, you win. Game 4, there's no flood. Game 3, there's flood, you lose. Game 4, there's no flood, you win.
Brother,
so
you asked me about the flood in practice the other day, you know, and I said I pray for the city of Houston because you don't want to see anyone go through that. I feel like you keep trying to get at like us hitting threes or something, and you're trying to get a controversial statement out of me. But you're not, because I feel sorry for the people of Houston. People are losing their homes, losing their cars, losing their lives, losing loved ones.
But Green hasn't been the only famous Warrior to get attacked by dumb reporter questions. Steph Curry. When a reporter starts off a question by apologizing for asking it, you know you're in trouble. The question was just downright goofy and probably would have made Mark Schwartz's heart sing with pride if he heard it. And trust me, the apology was definitely necessary. Check it out.
Steph, I'm sorry we keep asking you about squatting, but while Draymond and Steve were arguing with the ref when one of them got the technical, it looked like you squatted down. And were you just stretching there? And what did Richard Jefferson say to you?
You serious right now?
You gotta be better.
People are curious.
Come on now, man. This is crazy.
You gotta be better than that.
Steph is one of the most mellow personalities in the NBA, but this even pissed him off. Speaking of apologizing before the question, here's another time LeBron got assaulted by stupidity. LeBron James again. In 2016, LeBron James unfollowed the Cavaliers on Twitter. He originally said this was because he was in playoff mode. While this didn't make a whole lot of sense, most people decided to just let it go and watch King James work his postseason magic. But notice I said most people. Some people, like this overpaid reporter, thought it might be a good idea to ask James about it directly.
Ron, you may not like this one, and I'm not thrilled asking it. I'm obviously trying to diffuse this a little bit, but it appears that you unfollowed the Cavs on Twitter today, and it's caused quite a stir. Why did you do that, or what would go into that?
Next question.
He literally said, you might not like this one, and I'm not thrilled asking it. Bro, why are you asking it then? What do you think is gonna happen? The fact that LeBron straight up rejected the question makes this less memorable than other clips. But in terms of sheer stupidity, this question might be the worst so far. It might seem like these players are just tolerating dumb questions all the time and never fighting back, but there are some who have actually started retaliating. Russell Westbrook. There's probably no player more famous for his dealings with dumb reporters than Russell Westbrook. For some unknown reason, Westbrook seems to get an unusually high amount of dumb questions, but Westbrook has made a habit of turning the tables and trolling the reporters. His strategy might be to eventually discourage other dumb reporters from opening their mouths, but so far, it doesn't seem to be working. All that's resulted is a long highlight reel of hilarious interactions between Westbrook and the press. It probably all began way back in 2012 when Westbrook was still part of the Big Three in OKC. His teammate James Harden was still fairly new to the league at the time. During the press conference, Westbrook got slammed with a super dumb question that basically asked him to rank his own teammate. Check out the question and check out how Westbrook shuts him down at the end.
Do you think Harden is a max player? Or would you rate him as a shooting guard in the NBA?
James Harden is a great player for our team. He does a lot of great things for us, and he's going to continue to do that for us. No more questions for you, bro.
As Westbrook started to get more practice firing back at the press, his responses started to get bolder. Check out his response to this dumbass question about his stats.
So how would you grade when you look at your line on the box score? How would you grade the line?
I don't give a about the line. We lost.
He also started to gain more confidence. Russell could see right through reporters' questions and figure out when there was a nasty motive behind them. Check out when he interrupted his teammate, Steven Adams, and answered his question for him.
Hold on, Steven. I don't want nobody to try to split us up. We all one team. Regardless if I go to the bench, if Steven's on the floor, if I'm off the floor, we in this together.
Later on in 2018, Westbrook was involved in a controversial play at Oracle Arena. Warrior center Zaza Pachulia fell on top of him, and to many, including Westbrook, it seemed like he did it on purpose to try and injure Westbrook. Luckily, Westbrook wasn't hurt, but it was still going to end up being a painful evening. In a post-game interview, it came as no surprise that the moment with Zaza was all anybody wanted to ask him about. Westbrook had no chill at all, and he actually tried to dismantle the reporters' questions in front of them. Watch.
Russell, what happened with that play when Zaza fell on your leg?
What you mean what happened? What you think what happened?
I don't know. I couldn't see.
Don't lie. Don't lie. You couldn't see it. You saw the instant replay 4 times. What happened?
You fell on your leg.
Thank you. Don't ask me a dumb question you know the answer to.
It was pretty brutal, but still, the reporters in Utah were the ones who got it the worst from Westbrook. In fact, it was basically all of Utah.
Russell, there were a couple times where you, coming out of the into the tunnel, you confronted a fan. What happened in those instances?
I don't confront fans. Fans confront me. Here in Utah, man, a lot of disrespectful, vulgar things are said to the players here with these fans, man. It's truly disrespectful.
Considering all these reporters getting owned over and over, it's kind of amazing that the dumb questions keep coming. But despite his efforts, Westbrook has had to keep confronting interviewers this way for his entire career. Next, let's look at the coach who's best known for retaliating against stupid reporters, Greg Popovich. A lot of people think Greg Popovich is the best coach of all time. That's a debate that can rage on forever, but one thing nobody can debate is that he's the best coach when it comes to shutting down idiotic questions. Something that Pop has in common with Westbrook is that he makes his disrespect very obvious. Just watch how sympathetic he was when a reporter asked him why LeBron James is so hard to guard.
Have you watched LeBron play before?
I mean, was there just a...
He's LeBron James. That's what makes him difficult to guard.
When it comes to dumb questions that Coach Pop has had to shut down, that's just the tip of the iceberg. He also has a tendency to give really short and obvious answers. This has a unique way of exposing how dumb the question was to begin with. Just watch how he handles everyone's all-time favorite sideline reporter, Doris Burke.
Popovich, what did you see there in the first 12?
As soon as we substituted, it went to crap.
Or how he handles everyone's actual favorite sideline reporter, the late, great Craig Sager.
You're shooting under 35%. Are you happy with the shot selection?
Happy?
No, you never.
Am I happy?
I've heard that before.
Craig, come on, get back in the swing of things. You too, baby. Love you.
Popovich was sometimes almost invincible to dumb questions. He would spend the entire press conference just deflecting questions and explaining why they were stupid.
What do you think turned the series around for them after game 1?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. That's smart. We just lost. Ask Billy. He'll figure it out.
At times, Popovich can also be super funny. It's a great strategy for combating dumb reporters too. Check out how he handles this super lame question about the Warriors.
Hey, Coach, the Warriors weren't playing that well down the stretch. As you prepare for the series, what did you see on film that might be different from what you saw last year in the finals?
I noticed that Steph wasn't there. I watched real closely, and I turned it off for a while, thought that maybe, I didn't. I turned it back on, and he still wasn't there. I noticed that. But after that, I didn't watch anything else. It was too scary.
Like Russell Westbrook, Greg Popovich seems like he might be trying to change the dynamic between the NBA and the media. But so far, the dumb questions just keep coming. Just wait until you hear this next one. Nikola Jokic. One of the best ways to make sure that your question is as dumb as it can possibly be is to make it as vague as possible. There's nothing more vague than asking somebody, "What have you been up to?" This is the type of thing you say to your friends when you meet up. Not what a professional sports reporter asks an NBA player during an interview. But unfortunately for Nikola Jokic, this is exactly the type of question he had to answer for the camera. Watch his priceless response.
What'd you do? Being in my home, I was watching Pokemon for 5 hours.
Pokemon?
Yeah.
Here's another super vague question that got a savage response. Joel Embiid. What's even worse than a vague question is a vague question that also insults the player or insults his team. This question insulted both, and Joel Embiid made no effort to hide his distaste, insulting the reporter to his face. Watch.
What do you think the issue is with this team? I mean, do you think it's the way it's built? Do you think it's coaching? Do you think it's the bad luck with the injuries, all of the above? What would you say the issue is? Because, like Brett may unfortunately take the fall.
That's a very stupid question. There's no issue. We're good. We just didn't win. We came out. We couldn't make shots.
Kawhi Leonard. It seems like there's no player in the NBA today who hasn't had to deal with at least one of these ridiculous questions. But in 2019, Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard had to deal with the GOAT himself. He was struck by a serious case of Mark Schwartz. Check out the signature stupid question Schwartz launches at him.
Can you take me through the final possession where Iguodala hit the three? There was about 5 seconds left on the clock when he took it.
Livingston found him and he knocked down a shot, big shot.
It almost seems like Leonard might be the ultimate match for Mark Schwartz. Leonard is programmed to answer everything literally, and usually in as few words as possible. But Schwartz wasn't backing down just yet. He followed up with a question that was easily 10 or 11 times more stupid than the original question.
Did you want to see the ball in his hands in that situation?
Think about this question for a moment. It's simply incredible. It seems like Schwartz is still on the rise, like he still hasn't reached his prime. Schwartz is actually asking Kawhi Leonard if he would have preferred to see the ball in somebody else's hands when the other team made a game-winning shot. Congratulations, Mark Schwartz. This is the dumbest question in the entire video. It's also the dumbest question in NBA interview history. But even then, Kawhi was still basically immune to the attack. He provided another short and very literal answer that forced the GOAT of dumb questions to put his hand back down and admit defeat.
No, we wanted to see it in our hands. We wanted to get a steal.
Kawhi Leonard seems like he could answer any question without breaking a sweat. He should consider a career as a lawyer after he retires from basketball. Then again, he also seems like he's incapable of lying, no matter how dumb the question he's asked.